วัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีค่ะ
สบายดีไหมคะ
เอาน้ำเหรอ
ใช่ ไปเอาน้ำดื่ม
มันไหลหรือเปล่า
ขอโทษคะ
มันไหลหรือเปล่า
ใช่ใช่
มันไม่ค่อยไหล
ไม่คิดว่าฝนจะตกวันนี้ตกใช่
น้ำมันมีนิดเดียวเนี่ยมันไม่ค่อยไหลมันไม่เข้าท่ออ่ะ
อ๋อขอโทษ
มันเข้าท่อนิดเดียวอ่ะ
ใช่ไม่เป็นไรค่ะนี่เลยใช่อ๋ออันนี้ไม่อะไรอันนี้
ไม้เขาเลื่อยเอาจะไปทำโต๊ะได้มันเนาะมันจะเสียมันจะเน่ามันอยู่ฝุ่นน่ะตากฝุ่นไปเก็บไว้ที่บ้าน
จนนั่นนะเฮลมี
ไม่เป็นไร
โอ้
ไม่เป็นไร
โอเคไหม
เอาเลยโว้ยเอาไปไหวนี่
เอาไปไว้นี้
เอาไปไหวสองแกน
ไม่เข้าใจค่ะ
เนี่ยสองอันเนี่ยเต็มเนี่ยไหวไหม
อันนี้พกลีนู่นหรอไม่ใช่
ใส่เต็มหนัก
พกลี
มันหนัก
โอ้ใช่ไม่เป็นไรไม่หนักชอบมากใช่
ย่าได้ทำอ่ะมันต่ำอ่ะย่าได้ใส่
ไม่แค่นี้
โอ้
ยไม่เป็นไรค่ะใช่โอ้
เหนื่อย
ใช่ตอนวันนี้ไม่เป็นไร
เนาะ
ใช่ขอบคุณค่ะแล้วพบกันไหมค่ะโชคดีนะโอ้บ้านคุณโฮมสเตย์ใช่ไหมคุณทำอ๋อสวยมาก
เป็นคนท
ำใช่
สวยไหม
สวยมากใช่เก่ง
หลังไปเที่ยวเหรอเที่ยวดู
ใช่พูดมาเที่ยว and you ที่โฮมสเตย์คนคุณใช่ for sure yeah โอเคขอบคุณค่ะเราพบกันไหมค่ะฉันทำเองวิดีโอใช่ฮัลโหล
อย่าลืมเปิดนะ
แล้วไม่เข้าใจอะไรคะ
อะไรเนี่ยมาแล้วคุณลืมปิดให้
ลืมเปิด
ลืมเปิดน้ำมันไม่ไหลไปข้างล่างแล้วว่าคุณจะเอาคุณก็ปิดที่
นี่ฉันทำเอง
แล้วก็คุณลืม
คุณอาจจะใช่
คุณลืมเปิด
ทีนี้น้ำมาเรียวใช่
แล้วคุณลืมเปิด
ใช่ฉันทำเองไม่รู้3 ปีแล้ว
น้ำมันไม่ขาดไม่ไหลแล้วเขาก็ขึ้นมาดู
ใช่โอเค
เจ้า
เราไปกินอะไรเจ้าโชคดีActually, maybe we should refocus. I don't know if that's going to be in focus. Okay, hang on. Where are we now? Oh, that'll probably do. Let's focus right there. Tick. Bring it down. Good. See if that works. That's it is close to PC Tom's house. Yeah. Is that okay? A little crooked, but that's fine. Alright. Yeah. They're making a homestay in their place. I think it's really crooked. So her dad lives with her. I think her son is disabled in some way, like I think maybe mentally. So I don't see him around much. So he might be in some sort of a home or something. I don't know about that. Not my business. But yeah, so they're just almost done, I think, making their new homestay. A lot of people are making homestays here. It's a way to bring in some income, you know. She was saying that the water is running very slow here. Pretty slow, it is slow. That's okay. Are we in a rush? Oh, the camera's really far today. Camera, it's a phone. Maybe that's good though, you hear more birds. So pretty much every Canadian I know is on the social justice bandwagon in a big way. It's like a religion everyone's joined. It's fine, I guess. Up to them. I'm not. No way am I joining that crew. Oh, it's super slow. It's just a dribble. This is like how fast it was that first year I came up. When I first started coming up, it was like this slow. Okay, that's good. No problem. I sort of wanted to tell the story. So anyway, all that stuff's going on. The activist is king. White privilege is the original sin. BLM in any incarnations untouchable. Anyway, I want to tell a story, but I think that Brett and Heather Weinstein. Shoot, I always mix it up. Weinstein, I think. Are doing wonderful commentary on sort of goings on. Most of it's in the States, and they're from the States, but Canada is too, I think. Yeah, whatever. It's okay to go out and protest because of COVID, but not okay to... Depends on the protest when you're morally in the right. Anyway, but I want to tell you a story. On Friday, I went to my mom's in the sort of late morning, and I took the stuff off my bike so that I could double ride her. So I went to have lunch by a nice place by the river. And my sister came, and that was really nice. I hadn't seen her in a while. Sister Sue. And then we had a nice lunch. And then when I was leaving, I realized I couldn't find my keys. My motorbike keys. So I dashed out, looked around, I couldn't find them. I thought I left them in the bike, which I do sometimes, right? So I could have left them in the bike, or I could have put them in the pocket of my jacket, which I took off, and they probably fell out, and someone grabbed them. So this is a story about losing motorbike keys, but it's really a story about classic Thai spirit and classic Thai moment. Yeah, so anyway, my sister and I were trying to find a place that could make a key from the bike. I'd heard that sometimes they can do that, but I kind of thought on my bike they wouldn't work, right? Anyway, we walked about 10 or 15 minutes away, maybe 10 minutes, and someone had told us of a key place that might be able to help us. So my mom was there watching the bike, right? Because we didn't know what the situation was. Like my go-to thought is, oh, don't worry, nothing gets stolen here, which isn't true, but it is true, right? The classic one is, like, Thai people will leave their computer in a coffee shop and just go to the washroom. Computer open, just sitting there with their bag, you know? And not even think that it'll get stolen. Like I've done that, and I've seen people do that, although I wonder if people are getting more cautious with that. Anyway, that's beside the point. But the gist of it was, we weren't sure if someone grabbed the key and was just waiting for a good moment to steal the bike, right? It's possible. It's possible. Water's faster now. So we found the place, and the guy came out to where the bike was, and it was a little tricky because we had to explain where the bike was, and it's right by Rimping Supermarket, which is a well-known kind of modern kind of grocery store, right? And in Chiang Mai, like they sell like all kinds of stuff, including like imported food and stuff. So anyway, so he found us. I mean, we had to say, like, it's hard sometimes. Rimping supermarket, but we were saying it a little wrong, and then it took it like maybe 5 times of going back and forth, and then it was like limping is how it should be said, or at least for them, and then we figured it out. Anyway, so the guy came to see us, and the locksmith, or the locksmith actually, key maker, and he couldn't make a key just from the bike. This couldn't be done. So we were sitting around, we're standing around figuring it out, and we phoned Yamaha, and then after, it's like 15 minutes, then I said, you know what, I have the key, I have my spare key, but in where I live in Mekongpong here, which is for sure an hour and a half away, booting it on a motorbike. So that's not a problem. I could just get the key and he could copy it, and there's a number with it, right? So the man and his son came over too. So we sent my mom home. It's you know, out in the sun and stuff, right? And anyway, she had to go home for a nap. So I sent my mom home, and my sister said, I'll stay by your bike. I said, Sue, it might be 3 hours at least. She said, I don't care, no problem. I'm not leaving your bike. My sister's my hero. Okay, let's have a drink. Let's come closer. Tell the story. Okay. Oh, my bum's wet now. Okay, so what's going on here? Oh yeah, we're rolling. Okay. So anyway, so the dad, he took me around on his bike on the back, looking for a place where I could rent a bike. And we went to a few places, and everything was closed because a lot of things are closed here. So, and we went by the train station. He thought there was a place, and it was closed. So then we went back there, and then his son was at this little coffee shop, and he was talking to him, and they were sort of laughing, and all, it was like, I think he wanted his son to take me to another place by the train station, which is quite a bit further. And anyways, his son did, and I'm sure he's just like, I don't know how old he was, like late teens, early 20s maybe. I'm sure he's like, oh, come on, Dad. I'm hanging out with my friends. Anyway, he did, right? So, and then he took me there, and he waited while I rented the motorbike to make sure everything was okay. Oh, we should focus. Okay. And, like, it was an hour of trying to find a bike that this man and his son were helping me, right? Anyway, I got the motorbike, rented it. I got a 150 automatic, like a scooter style, because I knew it. Anyway, so I did it, headed out towards home, hit a huge, one of those huge gale storms, rainstorms, and I just had a shirt and my pants. And so as it was coming on, I was already soaked, but I knew if I kept going, it was also the temperature drops, right? So you'd think that it wouldn't be possible to get hypothermia in a tropical country, but you can. I've been hypothermic here. I mean, get higher up, mind you, and soaking wet, and in the wind, and a motorbike, and like uncontrolled shivering, right? So it is possible. So beware. So anyway, I was getting pretty wet, and I just stopped by a 7-Eleven and asked them if they had one of those plastic raincoats, basically a plastic bag shaped like a coat, and they did. So 30 baht later, I bought it and put it on, then continued on home, and then the rain just came down like a torrent, and wind, and the trees were flying. I'm going, oh God, I'm going to be hit by a branch flying off. But it was fine. And I was worried because, you know, heavy rain like that on a bike I'm not familiar with on the mountain roads, I was a little nervous, right? It's nerve-wracking enough when you're familiar with your motorbike. But by the time I got just before climbing up the mountain, then the rain had stopped. So the roads were all dry. So I booted up to my place, grabbed my key and some other things I thought I might need, and booted it back. Coming back was way faster, right? And like going there, I was like at 40, 45, 50 in that rain. And then coming back, I was like at 80. No problem. Anyway, and so I got back. My sister was there. She found a good spot to sit in a kind of a coffee shop where she could see my bike, and everything was fine. So I parked the rental bike, let my sister go home. I was going to double her home, but she just wanted to walk. Fine. And then I took my own bike back to my mom's. Then I walked back from my mom's to the supermarket and grabbed the rental back, and then took that to my mom's. Then I slept. Then I stayed at my mom's, and missed kendo, right? This terrible. Anyway, so because Friday's usually when I go to practice kendo. So, and so the next morning, I got up, left at like 8:45 because I knew the rental place opened at 9. Took the bike back to them, walked back to my mom's. It was about a 45-minute walk, I'd say. And then packed up my own bike and went off to the key guy and had him make, I had 3 new keys for my motorbike. So now I have 4. So I'm going to stash them everywhere. I couldn't think of. And I might even get more. But they're quite expensive, eh? Like, they're about 400 baht for a key, which is, I don't know, 400 baht. Maybe that's like 15 Canadian dollars. That had 3 made. It's an expensive day. But also, I brought them cookies. The father and son and their daughter works there. It's just a little shop, and they all work together. And so I brought them some cookies, and also I got 1,300 baht worth of keys made, right? So that's the other thing I wanted to do, is make it to help them out, right? So a big wash of key making money. Anyway, but the main point is that I asked if I could give them some money for helping me, right? It's way beyond the pale, like an hour. Anyway, but they said no, which I would do too. I would just help someone. But sometimes it's a nice gesture to offer money here, and sometimes people really need it, right? So anyway, yeah. So that's the story of that, and just no resentment, nothing. Just everyone was laughing, and the man laughed his head off when I said he thought I just want 1 key. I said no, I want 3. He just started laughing his head off. Oh. So yeah, I learned Chinese. Anyway, wonderful. That's one of those experiences, right? And like on a personal level, like I wasn't sure what I was going to do, right? Because there's no way I could leave my bike overnight there. That would definitely not be a good thing. Even if someone didn't have the key, that's just asking for trouble, right? So, not that my bike's worth that much, but it's valuable enough, you know what I mean? And it's hard times too, so. Yeah, so that's the story of the Thai spirit, I think. It's a big thing, right? But it's little things too, right? Like people, like I said, oh, you know, about the language. I said, well, the language for an English speaker is difficult because of tone, right? And in Thai and other tonal languages, the word is specific according to the tone. It makes a different word, literally. Whereas in English and other European languages, we use tone to express ourselves. But we can also say a word and it can mean completely different by the tone, but it's in a really different way, right? So you could say, right, or you go, yeah, right. Totally different meaning, right? So, anyway, yeah. but what I was gonna say is that, like, if you're here and want to learn just slowly, people will help you all the time. Like, you could easily learn, you can learn the language just from talking with people and asking how to say. And I've never once had anyone get irritated at me asking how to say something. Ever. Never ever happens. I'm sure it happens, but not in my experience. So what are we at? 20 minutes. Well, I thought it would take me longer to pull that one out of my head. Yeah, so that was the story of the motorbike key in no Kendo, and I learned my lesson. It was in the end, with keys, rental bikes, probably cost me 2,000 baht. It's a fortune for me, right? Like, I probably spend 800 baht on food per week. But lesson learned. Yeah, it's all good. Anyway, I'm gonna pack up my water, and maybe we'll do a little walking before the rain comes. Before the rains come. Okay, hello, we're back. We're back online. Okay, so, should we switch this? You can look at the beautiful rainforest, huh? There we go. Okay. Walking. Yeah, anyway. So the next day, I had a bunch of kids' kote, which are the protective gloves or mitts, I guess you'd call them, that we wear for kendo, so we don't, break each other's arms and things. And I had a bunch of them because I've been repairing all the palms. I think I've got them all now. I probably did about, I don't know, 20, 25 individual kote palms. Anyway, so I took them the next morning on Saturday after getting the keys and doing a bit of shopping. I went and took the kote down to the kids' place and then booted it home. Yeah. It's kind of exciting, to have to deal with find your way through a problem. You know what I mean? And we were all in on it, eh? My mom, my sister, and I. And the key people. The key people. They were the key people. Like, we're all in on it. And the excitement of trying to work out a problem, It's really great. I think that, I guess we have to work out problems all the time, but there's something about it that's different than, I don't know. It's tricky, right? Anyway, each to their own. But it did remind me a lot of my long ride. That incredible satisfaction you get from working through something, and much of it was physical, right? And we're trying to figure out how to do things with keys and stuff, but the truth of it is, I rode, 3 times that trip. That's anyway, it's a very physical thing to do. Reminded me of my long ride a bit. Oftentimes things would come up where, maybe a personal story. Feels funny just to talk to nothing. So many times when problems came up, I had to figure out what to do with roots, water. Always. Water was essential. For that, water was the central guiding factor. Especially in the, I'd say a good part of the first and all of the second, right? Through all that southern Saskatchewan, southern Alberta, arid land, right? Where am I likely to find water? So a lot of times you wouldn't be guaranteed of it, You wouldn't be. You think, there might be water there, and on the map, because I was using maps, real maps, on a map it might show a water course, but, in that kind of country, water comes and goes, right? I'm sure you can well imagine. Anyway, so figuring out these things and then successfully getting through it, There's something in that. It's very simple, but there's something in that. Okay. okay. I was alone. I was with the horses, but it's like, yeah, end of the day, got through that one. Yep. No yelling, no protesting. Oh, I can't stand that stuff, eh? I know I have a bias, but anyway, yeah. So you just quietly make your way through, make it work, and sometimes it doesn't work, right? Sometimes you have to work and then improvise it, and it's never perfect, I'd say, but you get through, you know, and you make it happen. Definitely learned that through my farmer and rancher friends down in Saskatchewan, Alberta, you know. Those are resilient, improvisational people if there ever were. Like, to a person, Anyway, and when I think of my friends Lyle and Chris, you know, man, something wrong with the tractor, you get under that damn thing and fix it, right? Yep. Something wrong with your horse, get in there and work it. Anyway, whatever. But I was sort of just about to squeeze onto a thing about the protests and yelling and screaming and I can't stand it. I really don't like that stuff. But I have friends that love it, right? Like, I have one really good friend just thinks the activist types are maybe I'm projecting that, but and not just one, I have a bunch of friends who think, you know, so much has happened through activism. I'm like, yeah. But it seems to me that most of the activists I see now, just a bunch of narcissists, you know? Here's what I think. How can you tell a real activist that really wants to do good stuff? To me, again, my bias is in here. Yeah, they just quietly do it. They get it done, right? You get it done, you don't have to freaking broadcast it everywhere. You might tell some friends. It's nice to tell friends that you've achieved something or what you're working on, right? But to me, most of the so-called activists, oops, I'm going down a steep part here. Normally I don't videotape and talk while I'm doing this bit. Don't want to slip. Like the first thing, like you see these interviews, and half the time it's like with freaking actors and stuff. So, well, I'm an activist first. And yeah, right, sure you are. That's oh, look at this. See this tank here? That's oh, where are we? Whew, this one. This is a new one. It's an old one, but this one wasn't here last time I was here. See, these water tanks are new ones, and that's an old new one, but it's not hooked up. I imagine it's just going to chain it into this, but maybe not. It might be for another purpose. I don't know. Yeah, anyway. Anyway. Like, when I think of activists, I think of, like, the French Revolution, right? It's what it is, it's the mob, right? It's the mob. And mostly it's the mob that I don't trust or... well, trust, I guess, or like, because I don't think, anyway, whatever. Could argue to the cows come home about all the activists and mob things that have done good things, right? Sure, some, I think probably most not, but some for sure. Anyway, I'm gonna cut this, bye. You know what's interesting? Even though we've had some huge storms, and we're well in the rainy season, the flow still isn't high enough to make this section's always like a swamp, right? And here it's always overflowing, but the flow hasn't been fast enough and hard enough coming off the mountain out of the springs to make this swampy yet. Yeah. Interesting. Interesting. Oof. Anyway, whatever. I did my little... mostly wanted to tell the story about the motorbike. The key, tail... yeah. And then I did my little blurb about the mob. I always think, you know, the mob. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I always think that, careful with the mob, right? Because, yeah, down with the blah blah, down with blah blah. Yeah, but you're next. Careful. I always think that, and that happens so often, I think. And the perfect one is, a lot of people here might not know about this theater company in Toronto called Buddies in Bad Times. It's famous. Sky Gilbert is a famous performer in Toronto. Kind of started it. I don't know if he started it on his own, but he's definitely fundamental in its creation. And it was a gay theater, and of course at its time it was really groundbreaking and amazing stuff. Totally wide open, right, in terms of what it might present. Really, really wide. And then, I forget why, but then, you know, the directorship changed and it was becoming kind of intersectional woke stuff. And then Sky Gilbert was just banished, basically. No respect for what was created. I see this is so common, eh? And they said, oh no, blah, blah, something he wrote maybe or something. No, you are banished now. You're one of the evil ones, right? So now, it's like it's almost too cliche to write a book on it. But, and now the current director, well, the Buddies is playing the full-on, like they did this manifesto, right? This equity manifesto thing. And it's looking to me like the current director, she's going down with the ship, man. They're coming after her now, so her head's on the chopping block now. The whole thing might, like, you know what I mean? The whole thing might just collapse. And the thing is, with that kind of mob activist mentality thing, they don't care. They just want to bring it down. Bring down the evil ones. Anyway, I mean, you know, what can you do? You can't really prevent it in a way, because it just sort of has this momentum and inertia, I guess. Just, anyway, but it's pretty interesting to watch. Anyway, I really didn't want to get into the political stuff, but anyway, Thai Spirit, Jai Mak, the people at the key place, Jai Mak Noi, Jai Mak Mak. I will always go there to get my keys made. Okay, ciao. I forgot to say, hope everyone's doing great. Depending on the country you're in and lockdown land, I know it's quite variable at the moment. But I hope everyone's healthy and doing their best with whatever. Okay, Alapro Shen and all the best.